Velthric Station never slept. It hung in the darkness of space like a metal flower, spinning slowly around the dead moon. Millions of beings walked its corridors every day. Merchants sold strange goods. Diplomats whispered secrets. Workers moved cargo from ship to ship. It was the kind of place where 100 different species lived side by side, each one pretending to understand the others. Kira Vasquez was nobody special. At least, that was what she told herself. She was 24 years old, born on Earth in a small town she rarely talked about. She had brown hair that she kept tied back, strong hands from years of lifting heavy things, and eyes that noticed everything. She worked as a cargo hauler on the station. It was not exciting work. She loaded boxes. She unloaded boxes. She ate cheap food and slept in a small room and saved her credits for a future she had not planned yet. Most aliens on Velthrix had never met a human before. They had heard stories, of course. Everyone had heard stories. But humans were rare this far from Earth. Kira was one of only 12 on the entire station. She kept to herself. She did not cause trouble. She was just another worker in the endless crowd. Lord Raxus Talshin was the opposite of nobody. He was the youngest son of High Merchant Talshin, one of the richest Silurians in the galaxy. The Silurians were a proud species. They had blue skin that shimmered like water, tall bodies that moved with natural grace, and the belief that the universe had made them superior to everyone else. They sat near the top of the Galactic Concord's social order. They expected respect. They demanded it. Raxus had never been told no. He had never faced punishment for anything. His father's money made problems disappear. His family name opened every door. He walked through life believing that other beings existed to serve him, and nobody had ever proven him wrong. On this particular day, Raxus was drunk. He had spent the afternoon in an expensive bar, drinking fermented starbloom with his friends. The drink made his head feel light and his temper feel heavy. He laughed too loud. He spoke too harsh. His companions, 3 young Silurians who followed him everywhere, encouraged his worst behavior. They always did. The market corridor was crowded when Raxus decided to walk through it. Beings of all shapes and sizes filled the space. Vendors called out prices. Children ran between legs. The smell of 100 different foods mixed in the recycled air. Raxus pushed through the crowd without care. Lesser beings would move for him. They always did. Kira was walking the other direction. She had just finished a long shift and wanted only to buy some food and go to her room. She was tired. Her shoulders hurt. She was thinking about nothing important when someone bumped into her hard. She stumbled but did not fall. When she looked up, she saw a tall Silurian staring down at her. His blue skin was flushed darker from alcohol. His eyes were narrow with annoyance. Behind him, 3 others watched with cruel smiles. "Watch where you walk, creature," Raxus said. His voice was loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. Kira said nothing. She did not bow. She did not apologize. She simply stepped to the side and tried to continue walking. This was her mistake. Or rather, this was what Raxus decided was her mistake. "I am speaking to you," he said. His hand shot out and grabbed her arm. His grip was tight. When a Talshin speaks, you listen. You bow. You beg forgiveness. Kira looked at his hand on her arm. Then she looked at his face. "Let go," she said. Her voice was calm, flat, like she was discussing the weather. Raxus felt something strange in that moment. Something he could not name. Her eyes held no fear, no submission, no recognition of his importance. She looked at him like he was an insect that had landed on her food. His friends were watching. Other beings in the crowd were watching. He could not let this stand. He released her arm and struck her across the face. The blow was hard. His hand was large and strong. Kira's head snapped to the side. Her lips split. Blood, red and bright, ran down her chin. The crowd went silent. Raxus smiled. This was the natural order. This was how things should be. The creature would cry now. She would fall to her knees and beg. They always did. Kira did not cry. She did not fall. She slowly turned her head back to face him. She raised one hand and touched her lip. She looked at the blood on her fingers. Then she looked at Raxus again. "You should not have done that," she said. Her voice had not changed. Still calm. Still flat. But something in those words made Raxus feel cold. He told himself it was nothing. She was small. She was weak. She was nobody. Then she walked away. She did not run. She did not look back. She simply walked into the crowd and disappeared. Raxus laughed. His friends laughed with him. "Stupid creature," one of them said. "She did not even fight back." "Of course not," Raxus said. "She knows her place now." But a few meters away, an old Rethki merchant had stopped moving. His name was Gorath, and he had lived a long life. He had fought in the frontier wars. He had seen things that gave him nightmares. He had scars on his body from battles most beings could not imagine. And right now, he was very, very afraid. His companion, a younger Rethki, noticed his expression. "What is wrong?" Gorath's voice was barely a whisper. "That female, the one he hit. Did you see her blood? It was red. So what? Red blood. No feathers. No scales. Soft skin." Gorath swallowed hard. That was a human. From Earth. His companion went still. "Earth? The Deathworld?" "Yes." Gorath started walking away quickly. He wanted to be far from this place. Far from whatever was coming. That young fool has no idea what he has done. What will happen? Gorath did not answer. He just walked faster back in the corridor. Raxus was already forgetting about the incident. It was nothing. Just a minor correction of an inferior being. He would drink more Starbloom tonight. He would laugh with his friends. He would sleep well. He did not notice that several beings in the crowd were staring at him now. Not with respect. Not with fear. With pity. The world had changed. Raxus did not know it yet. But he would learn. Everyone would learn. Humans were not like other species. And Kira Vasquez had a very good memory. News traveled fast on Belfric Station. By the time Raxus returned to his expensive quarters, half the station already knew what had happened. By morning, everyone knew. But the story had changed as it moved from mouth to mouth, from mind to mind. It had grown into something larger, something more frightening. A Silurian lord struck a Terran, a human, a child of the Deathworld. Different species reacted in different ways. The Morvathi were the first to act. They were insectoid beings with hive minds, each colony sharing thoughts and memories. They were careful creatures. They calculated risks. They did not like surprises. Within hours of hearing the news, the Morvathi trade delegation began quietly packing their belongings. They did not announce their departure. They simply started moving their people toward their ships. A station security officer named Yenix noticed this and asked a Morvathi worker what was happening. The Morvathi's compound eyes blinked in what might have been confusion. "You have not heard?" A Silurian struck a human. "I heard," Yenix said. "It was just a market dispute. Why are you leaving?" The Morvathi made a clicking sound that meant something like sad laughter. "We have studied humans for many cycles. Their history, their biology, their psychology." It paused. We do not wish to be here when the consequences arrive. Consequences? The human did not even fight back. Yes, the Marvathi said. That is what concerns us most. On the other side of the station, the Kalori diplomats were having an emergency meeting. The Kalori were known throughout the galaxy as peacekeepers. They were small beings with soft gray skin and large dark eyes. They hated violence. They lived to prevent it. Senior diplomat Melith stood before her colleagues with shaking hands. We must contact the Terran embassy immediately. We must offer mediation. We must find a peaceful solution before this escalates. Before what escalates? A younger diplomat asked. Nothing has happened. Nothing has happened yet, Melith corrected. The human filed no complaint. She made no threats. She simply walked away. Then why are we worried? Melith pulled up a holographic display. It showed historical data, charts, numbers, images that made several diplomats look away. In the last 200 years, there have been 47 documented incidents where a human was attacked by another species. In 43 of those cases, the human responded with immediate violence. Quick, brutal, final. And the other 4 cases? Melith's voice dropped. In those 4 cases, the human walked away without responding. Just like yesterday. She changed the display. In all 4 cases, the attacker's life was destroyed within 1 standard year. Not through violence. Through other means. Economic ruin. Social isolation. Professional destruction. The humans never touched them again. They did not need to. The room was silent. Humans call it many things, Melith continued. Playing the long game. Living rent-free in someone's head. Watching someone destroy themselves. She turned off the display. They are patient predators. They do not need to kill you quickly. They are happy to watch you suffer slowly. The younger diplomat looked sick. What do? We try to help. We offer peace. And we hope the human accepts. Meanwhile, in the lower sections of the station, a different kind of reaction was happening. Mercenary crews gathered in their favorite bars, drinking and talking loudly. I give the Solarian 3 days, a scarred Vortin said. The human will kill him before the week ends. No, his companion argued. Humans are clever. She will wait longer. Make him paranoid first. I heard humans can track prey for days without stopping. They do not get tired. I heard they drink poison for fun, just to see if it kills them. I heard they keep apex predators as pets. They sleep next to things that could eat them. The rumors grew wilder with each drink. But underneath the wild stories, there was real fear. Everyone was watching. Everyone was waiting. In the security center, Chief Morinth reviewed the footage for the 5th time. Morinth was Kathrani, a species with 4 arms and skin like rough leather. She had been chief of security for 15 years. She had seen everything. Or so she thought. She watched the Solarian strike the human. She watched the human's head snap back. She watched the blood appear on her lip. And she watched the human's eyes. Those eyes bothered Morinth most of all. There was no fear in them. No anger. No shock. The human had looked at her attacker like she was memorizing his face. Like she was filing him away for later. Morinth made a decision. She left her office and went looking for the human. She found Kira in the cargo bay, loading boxes onto a transport. The human worked steadily, showing no sign that anything unusual had happened. The cut on her lip was already healing. Kira Vasquez, Morinth said. Kira looked up. Chief Morinth. Can I help you? I saw the footage. I know what happened in the market. Okay. Morinth waited for more. It did not come. That is all you have to say. What would you like me to say? Most beings would be angry. Most beings would want justice. Most beings would at least file a complaint. Kira set down the box she was holding. She looked at Morinth directly. I am not most beings. What are you going to do? Nothing. Morinth studied the human carefully. She had learned to read body language from 100 different species. But humans were difficult. Their faces showed little. Their bodies gave few clues. This one was especially hard to read. I do not believe you, Morinth said. Kira almost smiled. Almost. You do not have to believe me. That is not my problem. The Tal Shen family is powerful. If you try to hurt their son, they will destroy you. I know who they are, and you still plan to do nothing? Kira picked up another box. Chief, I have work to finish. Is there anything else? Morinth wanted to say more. She wanted to warn the human. She wanted to protect her station from whatever was coming. But she could see that Kira was done talking. Be careful, Morinth said finally. I always am. Morinth left the cargo bay with a heavy feeling in her stomach. She did not know what was going to happen, but she knew something was coming. The whole station could feel it. That night, Vraxis threw a party in his quarters. He drank expensive wine. He laughed with his friends. He told the story of the stupid creature he had put in her place. He did not notice that some of his usual guests had not come. He did not notice that his servants seemed nervous. He did not notice that his father had tried to contact him 3 times. He slept well that night. It would be one of his last peaceful nights for a very long time. Across the station, Kira Vasquez also slept. But before she closed her eyes, she pulled up a holographic display on her small computer. It showed information about the Tal Shen family, their businesses, their connections, their weaknesses. She read for a long time. Then she saved the files and turned off the display dot in the darkness of her small room. She smiled. The game had begun. 3 days passed. Nothing happened. Vraxis told himself this was proof that he had been right. The human was weak. The human was afraid. The human knew her place. He went about his life as if nothing had changed. He visited his favorite bars. He met with his friends. He spent his father's money without thinking, but something was different. He could not say what exactly. The station felt strange. People looked at him differently. Conversation stopped when he entered rooms. Beings he had known for years suddenly had other places to be. On the 4th day, a package arrived at his quarters. There was no name on it. No return address. Just a small data chip in a plain box. Vraxis almost threw it away. But curiosity made him plug the chip into his personal computer. A message appeared on the screen. Educational materials. About the species you assaulted. You should know what you are dealing with. He almost laughed. Some fool was trying to scare him. He would watch these educational materials and have a good joke about them later. He pressed play. The first video showed a vast grassland on an alien world. The narrator's voice was calm and academic. Human endurance hunting. One of the most terrifying adaptations in known space. The video showed a group of humans chasing an animal. The animal was fast. Much faster than the humans. It ran away easily and disappeared over a hill. Vraxis snorted. Pathetic. But the video continued. The humans did not stop. They walked steadily in the direction the animal had gone. The sun moved across the sky. Hours passed. The humans kept walking. The video cut forward. The animal was running again, but slower now. It was tired. The humans were still coming, still walking. Their faces showed no exhaustion, no pain, just calm focus. More hours passed. The animal could barely move. It stood on shaking legs, foam dripping from its mouth. Its heart was failing. It had run itself to death, trying to escape creatures that simply never stopped. The humans caught up. They killed it quickly. Humans do not need to be faster than their prey, the narrator said. They just need to be more patient. They evolved to pursue wounded prey for days. They do not stop. They do not tire. They just keep coming. Raxus felt a small chill. But he told himself it was nothing. Primitive hunting on a primitive world. It meant nothing. He kept watching. The next video showed human biology. Humans consume substances that would kill most known species. They do this for pleasure. Images appeared. Humans eating bright red and orange plants. Capsaicin, the video explained. A chemical weapon that causes burning pain. Humans put it on their food for fun. Humans drinking brown and clear liquids. Alcohol, a poison that destroys cells. Humans drink it at celebrations. Humans consuming dark drinks. Every morning. Caffeine, a toxin that attacks the nervous system. Humans need it to function. The human digestive system is a chemical processing plant. The narrator continued. They can eat rotting meat. They can drink contaminated water. They consume things that would hospitalize or kill most galactic species, and they call it breakfast. The next video made Raxus lean back in his chair. It showed humans with animals. Large animals. Animals with sharp teeth and claws. Animals that were clearly designed to kill. Humans form emotional bonds with apex predators, the narrator said. They bring these creatures into their homes. They sleep beside them. They call them pets. A human child was hugging a massive furry creature with teeth as long as fingers. The creature could have killed the child with one bite. Instead, it licked the child's face. Humans do not fear predators, the narrator said. They domesticate them. They make friends with things that should eat them. Raxus paused the video. His mouth was dry. He told himself this was propaganda. Exaggeration. Fear tactics. He kept watching anyway. The next section was history. Human history. It was worse than everything before. Images of war filled the screen. Not small conflicts. Not border disputes. Massive planet-spanning wars that killed millions of humans at a time. The numbers were impossible. The weapons were horrifying. Chemicals that melted flesh. Bombs that leveled cities. And through it all, the humans kept fighting. They kept building more weapons. They kept finding new ways to kill. In their recorded history, humans have rarely gone more than a few years without major conflict, the narrator said. They wage war on each other with an intensity that most species reserve for existential threats. They call their home planet Earth. Other species call it a Deathworld. Not because of its predators, or its diseases, or its natural disasters. Because of the humans themselves. The final video showed medical data. Raxus watched with growing horror. A human with a broken bone. The bone healed in weeks and came back stronger than before. A human whose heart stopped. Other humans pushed on his chest and breathed into his mouth until the heart started again. A human lifting a heavy vehicle off a trapped child. The narrator explained it calmly. Adrenaline. A chemical that temporarily gave humans impossible strength. When threatened, humans do not think, the narrator said. They act. Their bodies flood with chemicals that make them faster, stronger, and immune to pain. A calm human is manageable. A frightened human is dangerous. An angry human is a natural disaster. The files ended with a single message. No video, just text. She has your scent now. Humans never forget a face. They never forget an insult. They do not need to hurt you today. They can wait years, decades. They are the most patient predators in the galaxy. Sweet dreams, Lord Talshin. Raxus sat in the darkness of his room for a long time. The screen glowed in front of him. His hands were shaking. He tried to tell himself it was all lies, propaganda, nonsense. But the next day, he started noticing things. Kiro was in the market when he went to buy food. She was not looking at him. She was just shopping. But she was there. Kira was in the docking bay when he went to check on his ship. She was working on cargo. She did not acknowledge him. But she was there. Kira was eating at a food stall across from his favorite restaurant. She was reading something on a tablet. She never looked up. But she was there. Always there. Always nearby. Never threatening. Never approaching. Just present. Vraxis stopped sleeping well. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw those videos. Every time he left his quarters, he looked for the human. And he always found her. Not following him. Not stalking him. Just existing in the same spaces. He realized what she was doing. She was not hunting him. She was showing him that she could. She was letting him live with the knowledge that at any moment, she could choose to stop letting him live. He started staying in his quarters more. He jumped at small sounds. He checked the locks on his doors 3 times before bed. His friends noticed the change. "What is wrong with you?" one asked. Vraxis could not explain. How could he describe the feeling of being prey? Of knowing that something out there was watching him, waiting for the right moment? "Nothing," he lied. "I am fine." But he was not fine. The human had not touched him. The human had not threatened him. The human had not done anything. And that was the most terrifying thing of all. In her small room, Kira reviewed her notes for the day. She marked down where she had been, what she had seen, how long the Solarian had taken to notice her. The timeline was progressing nicely. His paranoia was growing. His confidence was breaking. Soon, the real consequences would begin. She closed her notes and went to sleep easily. Patience was a human virtue, and Kira had plenty of it. The call from home came on a gray morning. Vraxis was lying in bed, staring at the ceiling when his communication panel flashed with an urgent alert. The code was from his family estate. From his father. He answered immediately. High Merchant Talshin appeared on the screen. He was old. His blue skin faded to a pale shade, but his eyes were sharp as knives. And right now, those eyes burned with fury. "Father," Vraxis began, "I was going to call you." Silence. The word cut through the air like ice. "Do you have any idea what you have done?" "I corrected an inferior being who showed me disrespect." "It was nothing. Nothing?" His father's voice rose. "You call the destruction of our family's future nothing?" Vraxis felt his stomach drop. "What are you talking about?" His father's hand shook as he held up a datapad. "The Terran Shipping Consortium. Do you know them? They handle 30% of our cargo routes. Yesterday, they informed me that they are reconsidering our contract." "Reconsidering? Why?" "They did not say why. They did not make accusations. They did not demand anything. They simply said they were reviewing their partnerships and would contact us when they made a decision." His father's eyes narrowed. 3 hours later, I received similar messages from 2 more human-owned companies, and one from a Kilori firm that does heavy business with Terran worlds. Vraxis opened his mouth but could not find words. "It gets worse," his father continued. "Our competitors smell blood. The Voss family has already started approaching our partners. They are offering better rates, faster delivery, exclusive deals. They are circling us like predators around wounded prey. This is impossible. The human is just a cargo worker. She has no power. She does not need power." His father slammed his hand on his desk. "She only needed to be human. Word of what you did has spread across 12 systems. Every species that does business with Terrans has heard the story. And they are all watching to see what happens next. What happens next is nothing. I am a Talshin. Our family built its wealth on reputation, on relationships, on trust." His father's voice became quiet. which was somehow worse than the shouting. You destroyed all of that with one stupid blow to a girl's face. Vraxis felt the world tilting around him. This was not possible. He was the victim here. The human had disrespected him. He had done what any noble would do. What do I do? He asked. His voice sounded small even to his own ears. You apologize. Publicly. You make a show of regret so great that even the humans might believe it. You save what little of our reputation remains. His father paused. And then you come home. I am sending a ship. You are done on Velthrix. The screen went dark. Vraxis sat in the silence of his room for hours. His mind raced through possibilities. His hands opened and closed without purpose. Everything he had known about his place in the universe was crumbling. He decided to apologize. Not because he was sorry, but because he had no other choice. He found Kira in the central plaza during the evening hour when the Pizinayua station was most crowded. He had brought witnesses. His remaining friends, some business associates, anyone who might spread word of his humility. This had to be seen. This had to be believed. Kira was sitting on a bench, eating something from a small container. She looked up as he approached. Her face showed nothing. Human, Vraxis said. He forced his voice to be steady, humble. It was the hardest thing he had ever done. Kira Vasquez, I have come to offer my sincere apology for my actions against you. The plaza went quiet. Dozens of beings stopped to watch. I was wrong to strike you, Vraxis continued. The words tasted like poison. I acted without thought, without honor. I ask for your forgiveness and offer whatever compensation you require. He bowed. A Talshan bowing to a cargo worker. His ancestors would be screaming in their graves. Kira set down her food. She stood up slowly. She walked toward him until she was close enough that only he could hear her voice. You think this fixes things? She asked quietly. I'm trying to make things right. No, you are trying to save your family's money. You are trying to stop the bleeding. She tilted her head slightly. You are not sorry for what you did. You are sorry that there were consequences. Vraxis felt sweat forming on his skin. What do you want from me? Nothing? Nothing? Then why are you doing this? Why are you destroying my life? Kira's eyes met his. There was no anger in them. No hatred. Just something cold and patient and utterly without mercy. I am not destroying your life, she said. I have not done anything to you. I have not filed complaints. I have not spoken to your business partners. I have not told anyone to stop working with your family. She paused. Other people made those choices because they watched what you did to me and decided they did not want to be next. Then what do you want? Kira was quiet for a moment. When she spoke, her voice was soft enough that Vraxis had to lean in to hear. I want you to remember this feeling for the rest of your life. I want you to wake up every morning knowing that a human could have destroyed you but chose not to. I want you to look in the mirror and see the face of someone who was beaten by a cargo worker without her ever throwing a punch. She stepped back. That is enough for me. She walked away. The crowd parted for her like water around a stone. She did not look back. Vraxis stood alone in the center of the plaza. Beings stared at him, some with curiosity, some with contempt, some with pity. He had not been hit. He had not been threatened. He had not been hurt in any way that left marks. But everyone watching knew the truth. He had been completely, utterly defeated. His friends did not approach him. His business associates suddenly had other places to be. He walked back to his quarters alone, through corridors that seemed darker than before. His ship arrived 2 days later. He boarded it without ceremony. No one came to say goodbye. His quarters were emptied and reassigned before his ship even left the docking bay. The Talshan family lost 4 major contracts that month. then 6 more in the month after. They survived, but they were wounded. The other trading families moved in like sharks. Within a year, the Talsham would fall from the top tier of merchants to somewhere in the middle. Still wealthy, still powerful, but reduced, humbled. Raxus was sent to manage a mining outpost in the outer reach. It was not exile. His father insisted. It was an opportunity to prove himself. But everyone knew the truth. He was being hidden, removed from sight until the shame faded. On Velthric Station, life continued. The cargo moved. The merchants traded. The diplomats whispered dot, and Kira Vasquez went back to work. She loaded boxes. She unloaded boxes. She ate cheap food and slept in her small room. Nothing had changed about her routine, but everything had changed about how others saw her. She was still nobody special. She still kept to herself. But now, when beings passed her in the corridors, they nodded with respect. When she entered a room, conversations continued without fear. She had proven something. Not with violence, not with threats, just with patience and presence and the weight of her species' reputation. Humans were dangerous. Everyone knew that dot, but now they understood why. And that understanding would ripple outward for years to come. 6 months passed like water through fingers. On the far side of the galaxy, a Kalori classroom fell silent as Professor Melith activated her holographic display. 20 young diplomats sat before her, their large dark eyes focused on the images appearing in the air. Today we will discuss the Velthrix incident, Melith said. Some of you may have heard of it. A minor noble struck a human worker. The human did not retaliate. And yet the noble's life was effectively destroyed within weeks. She brought up images. The market corridor. The moment of the strike. The blood on the human's lip. This incident has become required study for all diplomatic students, Melith continued. Not because of what happened, but because of what did not happen. A student raised her hand. Professor, I do not understand. If the human did not fight back, how did she win? Melith smiled. It was the question she had been waiting for. The Terrans have a concept they call soft power. It is the ability to influence others without using force. The human girl, Kira Vasquez, used soft power in its purest form. She changed the display to show the economic consequences. She never filed a complaint. She never made a threat. She simply existed and let the universe react to what had been done to her. But how did that destroy the noble? Because every species in the galaxy knows what humans are capable of. They have seen the histories. They know about human endurance, human patience, human creativity in conflict. Melith paused. When you strike a human and they do not immediately respond, it is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that they are thinking, planning, waiting. The students shifted uncomfortably in their seats. The noble's business partners did not wait to find out what the human was planning. They could not afford to. What if she had friends? What if she had connections to Terran governments? What if her patience was simply the opening move in a larger game? Melith shook her head. It was easier to cut ties with the noble's family than to risk becoming targets themselves. So the human won by doing nothing? She won by letting others imagine what she might do. The threat of force, used correctly, is often more powerful than force itself. The human understood this. She showed restraint not from weakness, but from absolute confidence in her own capability. She did not need to prove anything. Everyone already knew. Melith saved this lesson in her files. She would teach it again next semester. And the semester after that, until every diplomat in Kalori space understood the danger of underestimating humans. On a distant Morvathi hive ship, a strategic analyst presented her findings to the collective. We have updated our threat assessments based on the Velthrix incident and subsequent analysis, she announced. Her thoughts flowed through the hive mind, shared with millions of connected consciousnesses. Humans are being reclassified from potential regional threat to strategic concern, highest non-hostile category. Confusion rippled through the collective. They are not hostile to us. Why such a high classification? Because their patience is more dangerous than their violence, the analyst explained. A species that attacks immediately is predictable. You can prepare defenses. You can calculate responses. But a species that waits, that watches, that lets you destroy yourself through your own fear and imagination? She shared her data. Studies of human psychology. Historical patterns. The slow, methodical way humans had expanded through their own solar system and then into the stars. They do not need to conquer through war. They conquer through presence, through reputation, through the simple fact that every species knows what they could do if provoked. The analyst paused. Our recommendation is simple. Do not provoke them, ever, under any circumstances. The collective absorbed this wisdom. It would become part of their shared memory, passed down through generations of Morvathi. A warning encoded in their very genes, on the outer reach. On a barren mining world where the sky was always gray. Raxus Talshin stared out a window at endless rocks. His quarters were small, functional, nothing like the luxury he had known on Velthrix. He had been here for 5 months now, managing ore shipments and worker schedules and the 1,000 boring details of an operation nobody cared about. He thought about the human girl every day. He remembered the blood on her lip, the calm in her eyes, the way she had smiled at the end, just before she walked away. That smile haunted him more than anything else. It had not been cruel. It had not been triumphant. It had been pitying. She had looked at him, the way you might look at a child who had touched something hot and learned a painful lesson. Not with anger, not with satisfaction, just with quiet understanding that he had brought this on himself. He hated that pity more than he could have hated any violence. Some nights, he dreamed about what might have happened if she had attacked him. If she had fought back. At least then, he would have been a victim. At least then he could have claimed injury and demanded justice. But she had given him nothing to fight against. Nothing to blame. Nothing but his own actions and their natural consequences. He was beginning to understand that this was the point. Back on Velthrix Station, life had moved on. New scandals had replaced old ones. New dramas occupied the gossip networks. The Talshan incident was becoming history, filed away in diplomatic archives and academic databases. Kira Vasquez still worked in the cargo base. She had been offered promotions, better jobs, even a position with a Terran trading company that had heard about what happened. She had turned them all down. She liked her work. She liked the simplicity of it. Load boxes, unload boxes, go home, sleep, repeat. But things were different now. People talked to her more. Aliens who had once avoided humans now stopped to chat. A refugee merchant brought her food sometimes, small gifts of gratitude for reasons he never quite explained. A Morvathi researcher asked if she would consent to an interview about human psychology, which she politely declined. She had made friends. Real friends, for the first time since leaving Earth. One evening, she was walking through the recreation level when a small voice called out to her. "Excuse me? Are you the human?" She turned. A young refugee child stood there, barely reaching her waist. His feathers were the bright colors of youth, not yet faded by age and experience. "I am a human," Kira said. "Is there something you need?" The child looked up at her with wide eyes. "My teacher told us about your planet. She said it tries to kill you." Kira crouched down to be at his level. "That is true. Earth is dangerous. She said there are animals that can eat you, and plants that can poison you, and the weather can destroy whole cities. Also true. The child's head tilted in confusion. And you just live there anyway? Kira smiled. It was a real smile, warm and genuine. We do more than live there. We thrive. We build cities and grow food and raise families. We make music and art and science. We laugh and cry and love. But how? If everything is trying to kill you? Because humans are stubborn. Kira reached out and gently touched the child's feathers. We do not give up. We do not stop trying. No matter what the universe throws at us, we adapt and survive and keep going forward. The child stared at her with something between wonder and terror. Kira stood up. Do not be afraid of humans, little one. We are only dangerous to those who try to hurt us first. To everyone else, we are just people. Strange people from a strange world. But people all the same. She walked away, leaving the child to think about her words. The station continued its eternal rotation around the dead moon. Ships came and went. Deals were made and broken. Species mingled and separated and mingled again. And somewhere in the endless crowd, a human woman loaded cargo and ate cheap food and slept in a small room. She was nobody special. Just another worker in the vast machine of galactic commerce. But she had changed the universe in her small way. She had taught a lesson that would echo through generations. She had shown that strength was not always about violence. That victory did not require destruction. That sometimes the most powerful thing you could do was simply refuse to become what your enemies expected. The galaxy was vast and strange, and full of wonders, and humans were part of it now. Not as conquerors, not as victims, just as themselves. Patient, enduring, unbreakable. Exactly as they had always been. In her small room that night, Kira looked at a photograph on her wall. It showed Earth from space. Blue oceans, white clouds, green continents. The Deathworld that had created her. She touched the image gently. We are still here, she whispered to no one. We will always be here. Then she turned off the lights and slept peacefully, dreaming of home. Outside her window, the stars burned on forever.